Hello, welcome to the tutorial. And today we're gonna build a noise shaker. And you do it by taking this, putting the stuff inside, and shaking it. Here you have it. Thank you for watching. No, just kidding. Yeah, so it's kind of like this, but we're also gonna be able to amplify it. So we're gonna be using this enclosure, which is an aluminum casing designed to host a small guitar pedal, but we're gonna use it just for the shaker. But first things first, why would you wanna build a noise shaker? Well, because you want to, of course. Why would you click on this video otherwise? But other than that, building a noise shaker, if you're into like noise music, if you want to make harsh noise, it's kind of really simple instrument to build, and you can make a lot of noise with it. Yeah, if you plug it into a pedal and an amp, you can make stuff happen with it for sure. So yeah, also gonna be using this jack and a couple of wires, some tools, and yeah, let's get into it. First thing that we're gonna do is to drill a hole for this jack. I'm gonna put it right here, so the jack would be like inside there. So I'm just gonna put a dot somewhere in here so I'll know where to drill it. Yeah, and I can't do it here. I'll need to move a couple of meters to my workbench. So yeah, let's go. Alright, welcome to the workbench. So, safety first, protective gloves, because holes in hands are probably not fun for most people. Definitely not fun for me. Okay, I don't need this part, but so I'll just do the drilling first. So I need to drill a 10mm hole, but I'll start with like a smaller hole, so it's easier to drill a bigger hole later. Yep, let's put a little bigger drill bit, like, I don't know, like a 6. There are also stepped drill bits, which I actually have somewhere, but I don't know. Can you see it? I can see it somewhere in here. Okay, now we have a bigger hole, and let's try to make it 10mm. Maybe the jack is a little bit smaller, maybe it's 9mm, but 10mm drill bit will do just fine. Yeah, that's it. That's the workbench part, that's the drilling part. Let's move back to the table part. And we're back at the table. So let's just put a jack inside of there. I have this guitar type of jack. There are also different jacks, like there are also different sizes, but this is like the same size, which is also can be used, but I use the guitar one because if you want to get really wild and you want to throw stuff around like a real harsh noise artist, then this one comes off the jack kind of easy. But this one actually like stays there properly, so it's a good idea to use this one if you prefer to not worry about the jack, the cable slipping out. Okay. Okay, let's just what? Oh. Let's just put this right here. And so yeah, this is a mono jack. Because it's a mono signal, it has 2 pins. Like same, well actually this one has 3 pins, but this is just basically the same pin as this, but so basically these are 2 pins where we connect the wires. The one in the middle is ground, and this is like the other one, the red wire. Yeah, so for this purpose you can also use, if you want to, for some reason you can use a mini jack, or I don't know what other type of jacks there are, but basically what you need is a mono, because you can also use stereo, but then if that's like for some reason the only thing you have, you can use it, it should work, but then you'll just have an extra pin in there that doesn't do anything. Okay, let's start soldering. Now I have a soldering station here. You don't need to use this fancy stuff, you can just use any cheap soldering machine, but it's good that you can set the temperature there, so the ones that are just, you plug them in and they just start heating up at some, I don't know, like 450 degrees or something. That's well, it's better to be able to set the temperature. So yeah, and yeah, we're gonna be using some soldering tin, and we're gonna solder this piezo to the jack. But first let's just solder the wires to the piezo. So we need 2 wires, and often you can get these piezo discs already with wires attached to them. So if you want to skip the step, you just get the ones that already have the wires attached, because it can be, if you don't have much experience in soldering, it can feel a little bit tricky at first, but yeah, but it's nothing hard to do. Let's just put a little bit of cardboard to protect the table. So we need to put 2 wires, one to this metal, like bronze color part, and one to the actual piezo crystal. And important thing is that they don't connect to each other, because then there just will be no sound. So we need 1 wire going from somewhere in this area and one from somewhere in this area. And to do that, let's first just cut the wire. So let's see how long of a wire we need. Like, so if it's gonna be going from here to here, just like this short one. And yeah, if you want to use something else than this kind of box, you can use anything. Like metal boxes are good, because then the piezo and wiring is protected from all the like frequencies and stuff. But with like a wooden box you may get some interference. but you can also use a wooden box if you want to, but then it's better to use a shielded cable instead of this kind of wire. And this is like a strained wire, so it has all this like little wires inside of it. There are also wires that are just like just one thicker wire inside, but these are generally better for this kind of stuff. I don't know if this wire is too short. No, it's probably fine. Yeah, let's do it. So let's put the first wire, the red one here. Yeah, and they're different colors, but they're the same wire, just different colors, so you can tell that they are different, that they go into different places. So first we need to put a little bit of tin on here. So yeah, just solder it into the soldering gun, and then kind of just put it in there. Yeah, it's like fine. And for this, it's better to use temperature at around like 361, but I mean it can be like 350 to 400, and that's Celsius. Because if this part gets too hot, it's really easy to kind of burn through this part, and then it won't work. But yeah, if you're like around 360, it should be fine. And then we put some tin on the end of the wire, so it's easier to solder it there. So basically I just wire this here. I mean, I just tin it here. Yeah, there you maybe see that it's all tinned. And then we connect it, or I mean solder it here. So just put a little bit more solder there. And maybe just push it a little bit here, so it doesn't stick out. Well, it still sticks out, but it should be fine. Okay, and then you can check. It takes like 1 or 2 seconds for it to cool down, so don't try checking it just immediately, but wait a few seconds, and then see if the connection is secure just by pulling it a little bit. Yeah, we have one wire connected, and then we need to solder another wire, so let's do that. And I'll add some temperature here, because it's easier to solder to this part with a higher temperature. Let's make it about the same length. And I strip the wire on both ends. So the same thing basically, but it may be, for some reason, it's a little bit harder to get it here, but yeah, that's why the higher temperature, and maybe just put a soldering iron in here for a bit to warm it up, and just do the same thing as with the other part. Yeah, like you see, it's like the solder doesn't stay there. Well, it eventually does stay there, but it's a bit harder to make it stay there. But yeah, as you see, it's there. And then the same thing. Actually, I don't think we need this higher temperature anymore. But you can also do that on higher temperature, all the stuff on higher temperature, but it's just that you don't really need this high temperature all the time. And you can also easily burn through this if the temperature is too high. Okay, and with the, like I said, you can also buy the pieces with the wires already attached to them. And also, yeah, you can also buy a smaller piezo, which is fine. Like this one is 3.5 millimeters, centimeters, so like 35 millimeters diameter. But you can also buy small ones, and for this kind of stuff it doesn't really matter what size it is. It sounds the same, so you can buy the small ones. But sometimes I've bought some of these piezos with wires and they have this kind of plastic ring around them, which I don't like, and so that's why I don't really use them. But yeah, now we need to connect this. Actually, maybe I'll just roll this wire like this. Okay, so we need to connect the white one that goes from the outer ring to this one in the middle, pin or lug or whatever it's called, and the red one to that other one, to the outer one. But actually first let's just tape the piezo in there so that we have it in place, and then we can solder. And I use this really thin two-sided tape, and as you can see it's almost half the piezo but a little bit smaller, so and we need to cover the whole area of the piezo. So I'll just put 2 stripes like this. Peel off this layer. Yep. And then just put the one in the middle, so, and peel it off. Yeah, you can also just, basically you can tape the piezo without the double-sided tape. You can just put tape on it, on top of it. It will work, but it won't be as good. It will create some hum that you may not like. That will just, not like the kind of noise that you want to make with this kind of instrument, but the kind of noise that is just, that you want to get rid of. So yeah, just put the piezo in there. Alright. And then I have this old jack that already has some solder, some tin on it, so it's already been soldered and used in some project. But if you have a new jack, then you should have these holes in there where you just put the wire through the hole, heat it up a little bit, and put some solder in there. And just yeah, so this is fine, I think. Yeah, it looks fine. And then it's the same thing with the other one. It may be a bit trickier because there's so much of this old tin in there. I can get rid of it, but maybe I'll just melt it, and yeah, it smells pretty good, so I'll just melt it and Oh, and yeah, of course, as you may have noticed, the soldering iron is hot. That's how it works. So you gotta be careful. Unless you're into burning yourself, then I don't know. Well, I won't say anything. But yeah, it's hot. So you can burn yourself. Yeah, it's a bit tricky, but yeah, this wire gets hot. But it's okay, it's not so hot that I can't do it. Yeah, it's like if you have a new jack, it should be easier, but since I only had this one here right now, then it can be a little bit tricky with this old tin in there. And I could have, of course, taken it away before doing this whole stuff, but then I would have to spend time doing that instead of doing this. Yeah, it's fine. Just tighten the nut a little bit. Actually, we don't need to solder anymore unless something breaks. So I just put it away. Yeah, it's probably fine. But yeah, now we have this kind of thing, and with the like bare wires and all this stuff in here. But we're gonna make a shaker, so we're gonna need to put some stuff that we can shake inside. So we need to protect this whole thing, so it doesn't so the junk that we're gonna put in doesn't fall through this hole, and it doesn't get into the wires and stuff like that. And we're gonna do that by simply adding some electrical tape in there. And actually, maybe I'll take just a little piece of cardboard, put it on top of these connections, so that when we shake it, and I shake it, the stuff doesn't hit the connections. Yeah, maybe something like this. Maybe even too big. And just use whatever you have to make it a little bit safer. I'll just add a little bit more two-sided tape on top of this. If you add too much tape, like way too much, or if you use like a really thick tape, then it will affect the sound. But this thin tape doesn't really, or maybe in theory it does affect the sound, but come on, it's like harsh noise. You're gonna still, like, most of the sound is gonna come from distortion. Yeah, it's not that hi-fi. It's not supposed to be. But of course, if you want to use this kind of instrument into some more hi-fi stuff, well, you can do that. Why not? But yeah, you can, well, I don't know, do whatever you want. This is totally up to you. I'll try to put some of this tape like around the jack. Maybe a little bit tricky because the jack is kind of tightly in there, but let's see, hope it works. you can't really do that before you put the jack in there, because then you'll need to connect the wires, of course. But hey, what if I loosen it and turn it around? Yeah, this works. See? I learned something today. Yeah, this is the kind of just a little bit annoying stuff, but it's better to do it than not do it. Oh hey, now I learned even more. I can take the jack out and tape it and then put it back in. Like, why not? Why didn't I think about it? Like, it's so simple. Just do it like this. Why am I struggling? Like, why did I have to? There was totally no reason to put the jack in there first. So yeah, you can do it in whatever order you want, because as you can see, I don't always choose the right order. Yeah, but important thing that the connections are secure. And a little bit more tape. Alright, almost there. Okay, this should be fine, I guess. Actually, at this point I can already test if it works, and it should work. You never know before you test it. So I got this cable just going to the audio interface. Let's see. Oh yeah. Well, there you have it. Okay, I'll turn this off for a while. So yeah, it works. But let's just... Oh yeah, I forgot about this. This here. Put some more tape on it so it stays protected from all this junk that we're gonna put inside. Yep. Almost there. I think it's good enough for now. So let's bring out the box of metal junk. Metal junks. I think everyone should have a box of metal junks. Here's mine. Okay, just some random small parts. Oh, I'll turn this volume on so you can hear it. Maybe not anything too big, but why is everything so big here? This used to be a potentiometer. There. Yeah, this looks nice. Maybe a little bit more. Like, you don't need to put anything heavy in there, because the small parts will make like more sound, and if you amplify it enough, it'll be noisy enough for the type of stuff that is usually made with this kind of instrument. Yeah, so I think maybe that's about enough. Maybe with just a little bit more stuff. I think this bit, but this looks fun. Yeah. Okay, let's stop here and then close it up. It's ready. The screwdriver. Yeah, and this kind of casing is good because it's so sturdy. You can just throw it around, and with the sturdy jack it should be fine. But you can also use like tin cases, like cookie boxes and stuff like that. And I actually use quite a lot of them for the stuff that I make. Because it's easier if you want to put like springs on there. It's easier to do that. And then they're also cheaper. You can get them at flea markets for like almost nothing. But this is actually, well, it costs like €6 from like a guitar electronics shop. Yeah, and all this stuff that I use you can buy from. I just recommend just checking out what kind of stuff you have in your area. Like if you have an electronics shop that sells these components, or maybe somewhere nearby that you can order from. So don't go, there's like the big internet platforms that sell everything. Like they have enough buyers. It's not like, if you want to make this kind of weird instrument for like this really niche purposes, you can use some real stuff. But yeah, anyway, get the stuff from wherever you find it. I won't post any links or anything like that, because it's not that hard to find for yourself. Now it works, and let's take something like this pedal. Well, I'm just dropping stuff all around me. Well, that's kind of what it's like being a noise artist. You just drop stuff and then pretend that it was made on purpose. Okay, just need some electricity to plug this in. Whoa, I need to find a longer cable. Yeah, I told you it's sturdy. It actually stays in there. Now let's make some noise. Okay, this is what it is. The harsh noise shaker. You're of course free to use any pedals you like, or don't use pedals at all. I don't care, but yeah. Check out my Bandcamp for some noise machines for sale. I add them there sometimes. I won't add this one because, well, now you know how to make it. Why would I want to sell this stuff? But anyway, yeah, it costs much more to ship it than it would actually cost, so it doesn't make any sense to sell this kind of stuff online, at least for me. But yeah, there's some synthesizers sometimes there and some bigger type of noise boxes. Check it out, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions or what you think. Subscribe, like, follow me on Bandcamp, buy something from my Bandcamp if you want to support me. If not noise machines, then just some of my music. That would be really nice. Thanks for watching. Yeah, see you next time. Bye bye.